So long and thanks for all the fish.
I'm Steph.
And I'm Ange.
We're
Nerdazons. Love it.
That's all you're getting out of me. You're not getting any more.
I don't even know the rest of the lyrics to that song.
Neither do I. So this fortnight is my choice. We're doing Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy book versus movie. I chose this because I love Douglas Adams and I was watching Dirk Gently's Holistic Agency.
I never finished the second season of that. I really, really loved it. And then I think my partner wanted to watch the second season, then we could just never find the right time to watch together.
It's on Netflix.
And then we just never finished it.
It didn't get continued, so FYI, it just... But
I really liked season 1 of that.
Season 2 gets so much better as well.
Okay.
I remember watching the movie ages ago and loving it and completely not realising it was a book. So that's why I've done this one. So we'll start with the synopsis of the book. So the book came out in 1979. Seconds before the Earth is demolished to make way for a galactic freeway, Arthur Dent is plucked off by his friend Ford Prefect, a researcher from the revised edition of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, who for the last 15 years has been posing as an out-of-work actor. And the 2005 movie... Mere seconds before the Earth is to be demolished by an alien construction crew, journeyman Arthur Dent is swept off the planet by his friend Ford Prefect, a researcher penning a new edition of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, so first of all, Douglas Adams was saying that because this started as a radio drama, then it was a book, then it became a TV series, and then it became the movie.
Yep.
Each adaptation has been slightly different.
Yeah. I was saying to Steph before we recorded that I really try not to look at anything when it's your choice. So even like names, if I don't know them, it's because I refuse to look because I don't want to spoil anything. Not that it's helped me.
We
with
are
my,
in person this time. Woo woo! So I've got my computer out so we can at least look at things together.
Yeah. No, but I don't want to see it just in case the ratings or something come up. I try not to look because of that. But the only thing I did check is because I thought, wow, the story is slightly different, but it worked. It really fit. Like, you know, when you can tell, they've changed the story, completely different writers or whatnot, and it just didn't fit. But I thought this really fit well. And I wanted to see if Douglas Adams was involved, and he was. So that's why I think it worked. And it was the same.
He passed away before it got before it got released.
And he was really good friends with Stephen Fry, which is why he narrates the book and the movie. Yeah, and I think it just shows if you can have the original creators involved, it works. Same with the Beauty and the Beast live action. They had Alan Menken for the soundtrack, which is why the soundtrack still worked, and adding the extra songs worked because they had the original composer. And it just shows including that makes remakes work.
Yes, but there were a few differences. One of the main differences is Arthur Dent and Trillian.
So are we going to jump into characters or are we going to continue with
story? That they weren't in love in the book.
They weren't, yeah.
And that's what I don't like about Hollywood movies is that there has to be a love interest. There has to be a love triangle there. I didn't like the fact that was in the movie, that there was, that love interest between them.
I didn't mind it. I wouldn't say it was bad. It wasn't a bad addition because it was done right. It wasn't over the top. You didn't have to have like over the top touchy-feely kissing. Sometimes they go too far in that, and it wasn't bad adding it. But yeah, I was surprised that their story wasn't really as connected as it was in the movie. But I think it works for the movie because of the probability of like highly unlikely finding each other again.
I know. I like the beginning. I'm just going to say it straight away. The book was way better than the movie for me.
Interesting. Eh?
And I loved the fact that when I was reading this, it's kettle goes off, alarm goes off, 7 a.m. Yawn.
Like setting the scene.
Yeah. With the movie, though, I did like the addition of Hummer Cavill and Questler Ratnock weren't in the book.
With the vice president?
Yeah.
Do you realise she was in something else we've done?
What else was she in that we've done?
Pride and Prejudice. She was the one that's related distantly to Jane Austen. She was the sister.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Bingley's sister.
I also love John Malkovich, and I thought his addition was amazing.
Yeah, I liked. They really expanded on the universe, I think, in the movie, like showing different badlands that you could end that with, or crossing the wrong people. And I thought it was really good. I actually have to say I liked both. I don't think I could pick one over the other.
I mean, I did like in the movie at the beginning when they're like, the second most intelligible thing on the planet is dolphins, and that they were trying to explain that the world is coming to an end, but you just saw it as the Star-Spangled Banner. And like, I love that whole musical beginning. I thought that was really good. But one thing I did like, again, about, maybe not one thing, but another thing that I liked about the book is that I didn't realize it's a series.
Yeah, because the next one is the restaurant at the end of the road, and then I think the last book was So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. Yeah.
That I kind of like the fact that in the book, Earth doesn't come back. There is no second Earth.
Yeah, I will admit, I'm going to be honest here, the book was really interesting. I did have to sort of smash it out in like sort of one day. It was like my first weekend free of study, so my brain was pretty dead. The ending of the book was so much more confusing to me than the movie.
Yeah, I can understand that. And also because, I mean, I didn't read it. I listened to it as well.
Yeah. But I definitely noticed there was a fraction of a portion of the story that I did actually sort of stop listening, even though it was playing.
And I mean, I've listened to Stephen Fry do stuff before.
Yeah.
But I think I would enjoy this if I read it, because having all of the long names and the confusing names, if I could read it, I think I would have enjoyed it at that little bit more as well.
I feel like that wasn't as bad for me, but it definitely, it was a nice sort of easygoing adventure, and I really enjoyed that with the book. But at the end, I just feel like it got really fast very quick when the rats sort of came into it. It was that story from there on, and I think I tuned back in at the point when they were going to take his brain. So there was a good chunk of the rat story that I don't really remember because I zoned out at some point.
And who thinks of that rats are actually the creators
really
of the world?
Intelligent though.
Yeah. And I know, and I like the bit where he's like, no, I think you've got it wrong. We're actually testing, we're actually doing the testing on the rats.
They want you to think that.
Oh, they want you to think that.
Yeah.
I think we're probably going to jump into characters and things like that. But
I want to say first and foremost, even when I was listening to the book, how perfectly cast was Arthur. He was just whining in the ship, or why is it dark? Why have you brought me here? And I'm like, oh my God, this Martin Freeman was the perfect person. All I could do was picture him the whole time. And he just was, I think he was perfectly cast. They couldn't have found anyone capture that whiny British person feel to it.
Before we move into that, I just want to say that the main differences as well is that the towels were so important in the book, and that they were mentioned all the time, but they weren't really mentioned much in the movie.
It's like they forgot in the middle chunk and then brought it back out at the end.
Yeah, but
when Ford was saving them with it.
And then you see the towels all the time throughout the movie, but if you didn't know that they were important, you were just like, why have they got towels on all the time? Like, I like that they kept putting them in and it helped save the day and things like that. But I wish that they had mentioned why, you never forget your towel.
Yeah, yeah.
And also I love that Bill Nye was in it.
I know, he's so good.
Oh, yeah, and he was also in Phantom of the Opera.
Next episode.
Yes. Next episode is that, but I was like, what?
How weird did he look with okay, I know he's got hair. But like, I've never seen his natural hair color. And I'm like, oh, it's a golden, like, you've got a golden hair color.
And he's
not
so
great.
Young.
I know.
All right.
She'll never sell tickets. What a snob he was. Anyway, we'll get into that in the next
excited.
episode.
I'm really excited for next episode as well. Let's just move into characters, and then that way we can talk about storylines as well. I liked Martin Freeman, but I felt like his character in the movie was a lot more whiny. And
He
I know
was
that
so whiny in the
know
book.
he
What are you
was.
talking? He was even worse in the book than he was in the movie.
But, like,
he
he-
pissed me off in the book.
just the fact that like Trillian was like, let's go to Madagascar. He's like, oh, a bit shy and doesn't go.
Well,
and
what would you do if you went to a party and someone said that
but
to
then,
you?
Like, I didn't like that. It was one night that they were together, and like 6 months, 7 months, you're like, oh, there she is. I love her. I instantly love her. Like, you didn't know her, so how can you be in love with her? And then, you know, at the end when they end up together, I'm just like, ugh. And I guess this was perfectly cast for Zooey Deschanel, because this was when she was in her perky, quirky
but she
stage.
wasn't what she was meant to be in the book.
Oh, again,
Which I didn't realize that until I watched the book, and I was just like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, like she was supposed to be Arabic.
yeah. I know, but that's Hollywood as well.
Yeah.
And also because it was a, you know, American adaptation, you've got a lot of Americans, which I think it would have worked better if they had a lot more English people.
Yeah, like the book was set in like London.
Yeah.
You know, before it all got blown up. So, look, I actually don't think she was badly cast. She did have that
I don't
quirkiness.
think she was.
I don't know.
She was
Yeah.
a little bit like whiny as well. That's one thing that annoyed me about Arthur, is that he was just like, I love you. How could you have gone with that bloke? Dude, it was 6 months ago. Like, it just annoyed me that he was so obsessed with her. And I guess, you know, she's the only human left in the world. But
I can see
still,
what you're saying.
And that she was great. She was like, dude, I wanted to go on an adventure. You didn't want to come. Like,
Exactly. I can see what you're saying there. But obviously he felt the connection, and obviously the universe felt the connection as well, because the probability of them meeting together like was the whole basis of the story.
Yeah.
That's what saved them in the first place, which I kind of like how it all connects back like that. But I think you're right. Like, she even said to him, I want to go and travel, and he didn't really want that. So
I know. And that just really like annoyed me. But another thing, like, I didn't hate the movie. I don't want people to think that I poo-pooed it. I didn't hate it. I wish that it wasn't Mos Def as Ford Prefect.
he was so good.
Really? I didn't think he was.
Even when I was watching it, my partner came in and he's like, oh, I wish he did more movies.
I feel like Ford Prefect, which I didn't realise that's actually the name of a English fancy car,
Yeah.
which makes it more funny now because
Yeah.
he's like, oh, my name's Ford Prefect, you know. I feel like he was too human. And like, I don't know. I just felt like he wasn't
I feel-
as, because he's meant to be
But he was there for 15 years.
Yeah.
So when you first see him, he looked really robotic.
Yeah.
And then when you see he's obviously relaxed, he's been there 15 years, he's assimilated. And then when you see him traveling around in space, you can see some of the quirkiness come out. And it's, I thought he was fine.
I feel like
I feel like you're nitpicking here.
I think I might be. But in the book, he was just way more over the top and way more like...
He couldn't interpret conversation as well in
Exactly.
the book. Yeah, I noticed that as well. Yeah, he wasn't able to follow a conversation.
Even, you know, at the beginning where he's like, come on, Arthur, come on, just go for a bit. No, my house is going to get demolished. I need to stay here. And I feel like just in the movie when he's like, here, have some beers, there you go. Like, it didn't...
That
Wasn't
was
more
such a good
impactful.
scene in the book.
Yes.
The dialogue of how he convinced the guy to lay down in Arthur's space. So this guy in a suit who's there to demolish it, to convince him to lay down in his
He's like, well,
spot.
he's going to go and you're still going to have to wait anyway. So why don't you... And I loved that they did that. Like, it
Yeah.
was so confusing.
I got confused and I'm like, okay.
and I think that's why it worked, is because you were just so confused that you were like, what? Oh, all right, suddenly I'm here. I just feel like that was a really important scene. And it was just,
Yeah, but I can see where they cut a lot out, but at the same time they added a lot in with acting. He started drinking really quick. He's like, here's some peanuts and here's some of this, and like he explained it a lot quicker because I guess runtime, you can
Yeah.
only do so much.
Yeah. And, you know, it is a movie adaptation. I just, you know, that was one thing that really disappointed me, is how quick it was. That he's like, nah, the world's ending. See ya.
Yeah.
Also, I want to move on to Sam Rockwell.
Oh, God, he was such an asshole in that
I
movie.
love Sam Rockwell
So my partner.
so much.
I remember sitting there and I'm like, oh, my God, I hate you.
And that's, again, another huge difference is that in the book, Sam, because to be the, president of the universe, you can't have a full brain. When he had the other part
Head.
on his neck, that was such bad CGI, and that just, it shitted me. I was like, it is so terrible. I don't like it. I wish it was how it was in the book.
Yeah.
Which was, a side, like he was in a side, yeah.
Yeah, like I think, okay, look, he did annoy me, but he acted the character right to be that like cocky guy who likes to be the center of attention. So they did do that right. I will have to say, sort of jumping back to the story a little bit, I like how they connected him as the one who did sign off on it.
Yeah.
And it sort of I think it added more to Trisha's story, because in the book, her story doesn't really go anywhere. You just meet her alongside with him in the thing. Like, I think as soon as they all meet up, you really don't hear about her much. They're like, oh, hey. And he's like, hey. And then that's it. You kind of don't hear much. But I think it really helps connect her, or at least for her to see the type of person he was. So I think it was a good addition.
Arthur was just so... It's not the acting. I think it's just the writing. They made Arthur so... personally, much more annoying and whiny to me in the movie than he was in the book.
I have to disagree.
I was actually like rooting for Sam Rockwell to like end up with the girl, and
Nah.
because he was such an asshole, it made me like him even more.
Nah. No, I disagree.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was so much more whiny, and I don't know if it's because of the way Stephen Fry read it, but I just remember listening to especially the whole beginning part where he was just constantly whining. I'm like, dude, I cannot listen to you anymore. Get over it. And like Martin Freeman has this way of, it was a shock at first, but then he has this like almost sad, puzzling look and expression on his face. So he can still whine, but he does it with his facial expression. And I don't see it as like he wasn't even that, like he didn't even get that loud. Like Stephen Fry, when he read it, he was like whining loudly. And like Martin Freeman does it softly. He doesn't even speak up about how he truly feels. Even when he was trying to tell her, he couldn't even say it properly. So I have to disagree with you on that. I think he's less whiny in the movie. He's just more sad, pining.
I guess, and I didn't like that he was so piney in the...
I mean, he must like feel hurt. You know, you've spent like however many hours with this girl that you've really connected with, and then this jerk comes along and says, and he must have thought it was just some really cheesy pickup line at the time.
Yeah.
And then you find out, oh, it is true. This is the type of guy you're after. You've sort of bottled it away for all these like months, and then you're kind of forced to have to come to truth about it, and it's just come out on the ship.
Yeah, I think you're right in the fact that, you know, like you said, after all of these years, and then you see her and you see that she ended up with that guy.
Yeah.
But I really love style of Douglas Adams in the fact that, you know, when it brought up the probability of this equals pi equals 3 equals 2.
Which is the phone number.
Which is the phone number of this. That made me so happy.
He's very much like a really intelligent version of Terry Pratchett.
Yeah.
Like
And
Terry Pratchett's whack, and that's what I love about it.
I was reading somewhere that this was one of the first comedy sci-fis that came out.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, sci-fi back in the day was serious,
Yeah.
you know, and comedy was comedy. They never connected the dots.
Yeah.
And I love that. Also, I want to talk about the amazing Alan Rickman,
Rest in peace.
Marvin, who thinks that a robot can get so depressed. And one of my favorite scenes is when with the gun,
And he takes his arm.
And he gets the gun onto the aliens, and they're all like, oh, that's not worth it anymore. Oh, he might as well just go away. Like, there's no point. And seeing all of these aliens just get so depressed, and I'm like,
Yeah.
That cracked me up.
Oh my God. That was so good. And I really love the creativity of the doors.
yes.
They get their sense of satisfaction.
But It's such like a great
Random.
like this movie was so random.
Yeah.
So random, but yeah, I loved it. And yeah, as you just said before, that I didn't realize it was Warwick Davis that played the body of Marvin.
Yes, that's right.
I love him.
I do too. But just back on Marvin, a little bit different in the book because Trisha actually hated him.
She doesn't like him in the movie. She's like, go get this.
It's not as bad though. She's still nice about it. Whereas in the book, as soon as he walks away, you know, she's ranting to the president. It's like, I hate him. How much longer do we have to be here with him?
Zaphod Beetlebrox.
That's right.
Yes. I had to like look it up. I'm like, I don't want to stuff it up. It's Zaphod Beetlebrox.
Yeah.
And I love that there was so many just like random names as well. Like Questler Rotnock was secretary.
I know there's probably a lot of character. Well, not really. It's centered around like 4 or 5 characters. But can we please move on to prosthetics?
Yes.
How cool did the aliens look?
They were so good.
I loved when the secretary was running in and out with different forms and she's just... and she's like, they bring the arm up, like this really long, lanky arm to wipe her forehead because she's sweaty from running.
And that
so
they would
good.
just... And I like the fact that, you know... The narrators, like, they wouldn't even help their grandmother if she was on fire because they would have to fill out forms 4 months ago and get all this prepared. Another scene that I wish was a little bit longer in the movie was the scene with the Vogons when they were captured and they were like, you can either die or listen to poetry.
Yes.
And he only said like a couple of lines from the poetry, but
yeah.
I really liked that he kept going on.
Also in the book, it affects Arthur a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas in the movie, it's almost like humans are immune.
Yeah.
Which, because I was sitting there thinking, oh, if you're going to rewrite Hitchhiker's Guide, surely you would add that, you know, Homo sapiens are immune to Vogon poetry.
Yeah. And, you know, I just liked that. But I also liked that the book kind of did read as a guide.
And I have to say, I'm going to go back to the movie here. How cool did the graphics look? I really liked that it was that base color and just silhouette throughout the book. Kind of like when they first did their posters and it was all like one color and it was the silhouette cut out. That's kind of how the book read. Yeah. And I thought it was really cool. I really liked it.
And like they kept referencing it and it was like 3D and popped out. And
it really, I don't know, it just really brought like a comedic element to the movie that I really enjoyed. Did you watch mid-credits the scene that they had? There was a scene and it was done like the book, The Hitchhiker's Guide, and it was done in the like...
Oh, yes.
Where it's like he said something wrong and started a war or something. I can't remember, but yeah. And then they go and attack Arthur.
Going back to John Malkovich.
Yep.
How amazing. Like I did like that addition. But how good was it when he had the glasses and then he took the glasses off?
Yeah.
And then...
There was like nothing there.
Nothing there. And then he had this suit on and then you realised...
he's got no body.
He's got no body and then he was that creepy thing and I liked the addition of that.
Yeah, there were things that I actually really liked. Even the story, we should sort of jump to this. I know we've kind of jumped all over this episode. Back to the rats. Their story was explained much easier for me in the movie. Or they were like mice in on the ship, but their story, it was a much more condensed, easier to follow story, that they were these like really, really old beings there for a specific reason. I wish that they did add a little bit more of the potential, like the dialogue around torturing him, but they drugged the others, so it kind of eliminated the need for that. So there are things that they did that worked in the favor of the movie to cut those things out, but I really did like the dialogue around them trying to get his brain.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. But speaking of brains, another thing that kind of didn't like about Zaphod was that because Hammer Kavla wanted the
brain as like
leverage for the gun.
Yep.
Was I hated that then they dumbed him down and then they had to use that stupid lemon.
Love that. That was such a great, like, it's like a thinking cap. That was hilarious. I thought, who thinks of that? Let's just put a giant juicer on someone's head to like squeeze juice into I thought that was hilarious.
I I didn't like that.
And I loved I'm a sucker for, I don't know why I find it so funny, but whenever I see someone get hit in the face, I always laugh. Like, it's so like tacky and but I don't know.
Kids getting hurt is one of my favorite things. Whoops.
I don't know. Mine's just, when they get hit in the face. And one of my favorite scenes is like in Kung Fu Hustle when the landlady just slaps the guy in the face. And you know what I think it is? It's the sound effects that people add to it. But anyway, I love what they were thinking in that sand. And I really like this because, again, it's just such a random thing to add.
And they're like, stop thinking. You're thinking.
Run. And then every time Zaphod was like, I think, pew, straight in the face. So good. I thought, and I really like when all the ships sort of landed, how dingy and like dark the set looked of like this, dirty, dark, alien, bureaucratic building. And I just thought it was so funny because if it is like an alien species that is all about that, it just adds to sucking the life out of people because it looks so dark and it adds to your mood to be down and dank. And I thought it was a really good visualization of that.
And that was another really nice visualization, that's a good word, is at the end when he's with Bill Nye and he's like, well, we're still creating it.
And you watch them create it?
Yeah.
It was really, and they had like a big hose putting the like water in the ocean. I thought that was really cool. They really, even though it's fake, it made you like in awe of like, wow, they can make all this.
And especially, when they were thinking, what is the biggest question? What is the question? And it involved like religion and all of that kind of stuff of like, what? It made you like think of things. And I loved, I did not realize, who do you think, if you don't know this already, who do you think voiced Deep Thought?
I don't know. The voice is familiar, but I don't think I searched it because I tried not to.
Helen Mirren.
Oh, yeah. I can hear it now. Yep.
Yeah. And I loved that idea that, they had this world 3 million years ago that wanted to have the answer to everything.
Yeah. I can't believe
42.
how long it took, though. Because then when you think, if you're going to say 7 million years or something, come back later, and you come back later and you're like, a lot's happened in that time, wouldn't you have to reprocess your answer?
I guess, but that's so interesting that, what is the point of us? What is the biggest question? And I like how she's just like, 42.
Yeah, you're not going to like it.
But tell us anyway.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then, and I liked at the end when they dropped the whale and they're just like, I had time to think.
Ground. That was
Head.
Oh, what was that guy's name? The comedian, musician, Bill Bailey. Sorry.
Yes, it is Bill Bailey.
Yeah.
Yes, the whale, the voice.
Yeah.
I love Bill Bailey as well.
That was so funny. When I watched it, I realized there were some things that I must have not really listened to when I was listening to the book. I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a really good adaptation. And I thought what was added worked for cinema.
I did have quite a few belly laughs in this.
Yeah, I liked it. It's good humor. I like British humor.
I think I would like to go back and actually read the book physically and not have it read to me.
Yeah.
Because I think also when you do listen to books, you're kind of persuaded, but you're kind of differently to how you might read it yourself. So I think, I might actually go and buy this book and read it. And then I also kind of want to go back onto the series. It's only 3 books, so I might give them a go as well because I'm kind of a bit overdue now. I think I'm a bit duned out.
My partner read them. He did say the first one was the best. The other 2 weren't that great, the books, but yeah, pretty good. I would listen to it again and I would watch it again. Yeah,
I enjoyed it. But I think I would need time to watch the movie again. But I think I'm going to actually read the book.
I'm actually shocked because I thought... Yeah, I thought you would have liked the movie. I didn't expect you to like the book as much as you do.
I'm excited to physically read the book now.
Yeah, I think that's good. You should do it.
I'm getting back into reading, but we'll leave that for later. All right. How many movie reels do you give the movie?
I'd give it a 4.5. It's a solid film. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched it many times, but I would watch it again. and I enjoyed it every time I watch it. It's good humor. I think the creativity of it's great. I think the visuals were great of the way they shot it worked. I think it still holds. Even when I went back and rewatched it, I thought, you know what? They've tried to build the majority of the sets so it worked, and there was very little CGI. So I still think it holds compared to today because it came out
2005.
Yeah. So that's
17 years
there you go, 17 years ago. So I think compared to some other films that we've done, the graphics don't hold. So yeah, I'd give it a 4.5. I think it was a really great film.
And what about the book? How many pages?
I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it as well. I liked that it was, nice, short, quick, read by Stephen Fry. He reads books really well. And yeah, it was, even the story in the book, even though it was varied differently, it was still good. And what worked for the book worked for the book, and what worked for the film worked for the film.
And that's what, I said at the beginning, and that what Douglas Adams has said is that every time it's been adapted has had changes to go with the time. So if they do make it again, it'll obviously be slightly different to reflect,
Yeah, if they ever did it again, I don't know if it would work, because having him involved in each of those projects is what has made it work, because he created the world, like that universe. He will know how to make something work in it.
Yes.
What about you?
So the movie, I'm going to give it a 3.5. I watched the movie first ages ago, then found out it was a book, and I was like, heck yes. But I think I liked the book a lot more.
Sounds like you do.
And I had a lot more fun listening to it. The movie is great. I think I just need time to read before I do watch it again. But the book, I'm going to give it a 4. I think that I would appreciate the book more if I physically read it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to do that. But yeah, I did like it. I just think that Ford just annoyed me a little bit. So did Zaphod. He annoyed me.
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, but I did like him, and I don't think anybody could have done it better than Sam Rockwell. He kind of annoyed me, but he didn't annoy me. I guess that's the whole
He
point.
annoyed me.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to punch his face, especially for what he did.
So the biggest question.
I get nervous every time I do this now.
What do you think? You only get one choice on the book.
And that's we're doing the Goodreads?
Yeah, so it's out of 5 and it can be like point something.
Okay.
And I'll give you 3 tries
No,
because
no pity.
No pity, but because you don't get audience score in the book, that's why I'm like, I can give you 3 goes.
Okay, fine. All right, I'll accept that. Now, I'm going specifically based on the author here. I didn't realize how popular this author was until my partner started talking about him and Stephen Fry and all of that. So I feel like this is going to be quite highly rated. However, I also didn't know that this came after the radio show you were saying. I'm going to start high.
Yep.
I'm going to go, I feel like, I'm going to go 4.7.
Super duper close, but lower.
Oh. My original thought was going to be like 4.5.
I'll give you one more try.
Lower?
Lower, but just.
So stressful.
Wait, you said 4.5?
Yep.
Little bit lower.
Are we talking 2 decimal places after this?
I'm not going to say whether it's 2, 3, 5, 7.
So I went 4.7, 4.5, 4.4.
No, but close. It was 4.2.
You were saying really close.
Yeah, 4.3% is pretty damn close.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I can see that. I think it is a quite highly rated book.
Yes.
And I had that thought. That's why I went quite high to begin with.
And it's also, like you said, very quick.
Yep.
And, you get laughs, you get everything. And, yeah, I like the fact that it's not a thick, dense book, which it could have been. It could have been a Dune.
And I think any sci-fi, can get very heavy.
Yes.
And this one wasn't, which was great.
Okay. What do you think it got on Rotten Tomatoes?
Okay. I think it was a pretty good adaptation. I want to say that when it came out, it was quite successful. Because even, I sort of picked up on it. But I also now don't want to go super high. But if I go high, I've only got one way to go, and that's down.
Also, I just like brought up the list and we're actually tying after all of this time.
This whole time I thought you were like, I
Nope.
still don't believe it. I think I need to go back.
We're both on 2.5 stars.
I still-
It's the beginning of the year, we've only got 2.5 stars each.
If we're even at the end, I wonder how that'll go. But you're not doing a Christmas film, so I feel pretty
I
chill
am doing a
about
Christmas film.
it. Well, you're not doing
Babes in
Miracle-
Toyland.
Yeah, but you're not doing the one that I don't want
No,
to do.
I'm
so
not.
I'm okay absolutely with this. But let's go back to this. Okay. I'm going to go with maybe 82%.
Much lower, much.
I had a feeling I was going to go higher, and I thought, I feel like it might not be. So much lower. 63.
So, like, close. You're like, oh,
You got
lower.
to tell me anyway. I've done 2
oh,
because I've got the
oh
audience.
yeah, oh yeah. Oh, sorry, I was like, oh, you get another go. No, it was 60%.
Oh, I got so close. Okay, I can see why that's come about. I feel like when it first came out, it was a really good copy, but after having rewatched it, I've only ever seen it the 2 times. But hearing your opinion, it kind of makes sense.
And what do you think it got audience?
This one, I honestly, I'm going in blind here. Usually I can tell if it's going to be higher or lower, but I actually feel with this one it could be lower. So I might go 54.
Higher.
Okay.
Like a 54, not like super much higher.
Oh my God.
But like it's a decent amount.
58.
No, 65.
Okay. I didn't know if I wanted to go higher than,
I was like, oh,
I'm like,
more
when
than
you
like,
said not super higher, and I thought, okay, it's got to be under 10.
I know. I was like, how do I tell her that it was
You're
like?
giving me the wrong cues here.
Well, 58 and 65 is a pretty decent amount.
Yeah, but you said not a super decent amount.
Well, I wasn't
It's over
expecting you to
10.
go like 80s.
Oh my God. But no, I think they're pretty reasonable scores that it got.
Shall we move on to Notice on's Nerdy Notables?
Okay, it's my turn
Yes.
this time
Yes.
to like talk your ear off
Yes.
because it's always you every month.
I know.
But I've had 1 week off of uni. I'll probably start studying again soon for early access. But I have done so much. I've actually had to keep a little list.
That's awesome
everything
because
I've
I
been
literally
doing.
have done nothing.
I have been watching so many movies. So first of all, I went to the movies to see Bullet Train. 1000% recommend. It
Yeah.
honestly is like Snatch, but in Japan.
I love Snatch.
Snatch is so good. And it was done by the guy who did Deadpool, and a lot of the same actors are in it. I really do recommend.
Me and my sister quote like Snatch all the time, where I'm
Same.
like, I'm like,
Jumbo Jet.
how long are you going to be? 2 minutes. You said 2 minutes 5 minutes ago.
I was parking my little car. It's just a VW Golf. And I thought, oh, there's no room. And my godfather has a big Nissan Navara. And he quoted that to me. He's like, you can put a Jumbo Jet in there and you've got this little car. You're fine. But honestly,
Do you like Dags?
I
What?
really,
Dags.
really recommend
Okay.
that movie. It was really good. It was fun. And that's what I had the expectation of. It was just going to be a fun movie. I watched Free Guy. I actually watched that the night of when my exam finished.
How is that?
That was really good.
Okay.
I feel like it was an underrated film. I think it came out when COVID hit.
It did, and it
Didn't get as much.
I don't think it
rating.
even hit the cinemas. I think it went straight to Disney.
It was really good. It was
Okay.
all about NPCs in games and stuff, which I thought it was really good. It was fun. I've been watching more of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is the anime that I've been watching. I'm up to season 4 now. It's definitely a lot darker in this season. I kind of like, but there is a lot. I sadly still haven't started Sandman yet, and I really need to get on that.
I can't get into new shows at the moment.
You'll
can't.
find the groove. I get like, dude, I've been like that all year. Every time you're like, you need to watch this, and I'm like,
Maybe I'll put Archer on first.
I know I haven't watched that in a while, but I'm very excited the next season's coming up. But I'm also very sad because It's the first season without Mallory.
I know.
So I'm really keen for that one to come up. And Rick and Morty is also coming up soon.
Is it?
Well, the new trailer's been launched. So
I haven't even seen the new trailer. What?
And I watched Solar Opposites.
How good is Solar Opposites?
I'd already seen it. I watched it before you did. But they had their new season released this year.
There's a new season of Solar Opposites?
Yeah, it came out this year, season 3.
Shut the front door. I'm literally between Schitt's Creek, Doctor
Can you
Who.
put it on and watch it? It's really good.
This is all that I'm watching. Schitt's Creek, Doctor Who, This Country, and The Good Place. I can't get out of that loop.
Well, put Solar Opposites on.
Oh yeah, I freaking love Solar
and
Opposites.
since you've seen, it gets good. Definitely watch it.
Okay.
I've been watching a bit of classic movies as I like. So I finally watched the 1954 Creature of the Black Lagoon. Honestly, I had no idea, and this is why I like going back to rewatch these things. These are movies that you know, and I'm sure you know that it's like this creepy underwater animal set in Brazil. I had no idea, in the Amazonian river. And I'm like, this is why I go back and watch these things.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, that's a fact I didn't know. And I also watched a silent film yesterday. I watched the 1920s, first Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Wow.
I know. So I was looking for a 1931 version, and that was the one my partner said he watched and studied and was really good. Groundbreaking for the time it was filmed in camera shots in the 30s. So I wanted to find that one. And when I was watching it, I got an hour or so into the film and he's like, I don't think this is the one. And then, but the thing on YouTube said it was the 1931 version. So in the end, I ended up watching the original 1920s. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I obviously watched the Phantom of the Opera films, which are coming up, and I'm so excited to talk about that one with you.
And I did the wrong thing of watching the 1989 one, even though Andrew's keep that one for us.
I've been saying that one for months. As soon as I made that my choice, I said, this one we are watching in person.
And then I watched it, and then I'm like, Andrew, no wonder why Andrew's chosen this one. That's because that's one that she wanted to watch with me. So, oops, sorry.
And then we watched Girls Just Want to Have Fun, my
we
favourite
did.
80s.
That was the first time I watched it, and it was a genuine hoot.
Good. The soundtrack is incredible. I listen to that all the time.
It's, as you described it, it's Hairspray without the racism.
It is. I feel like living in the 80s would have been so great with dance style then.
I know.
So good. Oh, love that movie. I'm so glad you finally watched it because not many of my friends know of it. And
then I'm so glad that I watched Repo Man and the Genetic Opera.
Repo the Genetic Opera. Repo the Genetic Opera.
I loved that, and I actually went and rewatched it. I'm like, this is so good.
I have some hidden gems.
You do have some hidden gems,
and they're always under rated, different quirky things, and people just don't want to give them a go, and I have to force them onto you. Yeah,
and I was like, Phantom of the Opera.
It was
glad that
England,
I watched
man.
It. And I was like, what? Anyway, I don't want to get into that. I am a little bit obsessed with Daisy May Cooper. I think she's so funny, and then I got her book from Audible, and it is one of the funniest books
Does she read it herself?
Yes. Yeah. And I was the crazy person who was walking to work and literally had tears running down my face because it was so funny.
Oh my God.
And it's given me a more of appreciation for this country because it's taken them 12 years to get it out.
Wow.
Because nobody wanted it. Nobody, that was their dream. And please everybody watch This Country. It is so good.
That was I remember every time you tell me, I always forget the name of it. And I remember seeing that commercial the year it came out, and I remember saying, oh, that looks funny, I should watch that, and then I just never got around to watching it. And then when you told me about The Witchfinder and I watched that one, I'm like,
how good is The Witchfinder?
It's so good. But I remembered her face because I thought, hey, she's that chick in that series that I was going to watch. I'll go back and watch it eventually, and I just never did.
And then like you said before, she's so good in Taskmaster.
She's really good. Yeah, I think she just seems like a genuinely funny chick.
Yeah. And then I'd be getting into reading a bit. I finally the Michaela Jane series. I have had them for such a long time, but the last book, I don't know why, I just couldn't finish it. But I finally finished it and I'm like, okay, now I need to go into the Highlander series, which you might actually like.
Okay, my best friend has been pushing me to watch this series since the first season came out. Actually, I'm pretty sure she read the book beforehand.
Yeah, I don't think that's the same series as the Michaela Lane
All I know
series.
is she's been telling me to like watch it. Oh no, I'm thinking Outlander.
No, not Outlander.
Are you talking Highlander like Sean Connery?
No.
Daniel Day-Lewis?
No. So
different Highlander.
The Fever series is about a girl from Middle America, and that she is best friends with her sister, and then her sister ends up moving to Dublin to study, and that they're best friends, and then she finds out her sister's died, but it's like mysterious ways, and then the McKelters are part of that, which is a long line of Scots and from the Highlanders, and there's like so many books in this world.
Okay.
But
I still have so many audio books that I haven't even touched.
Okay. If you're going to do Audible, please, even like
I've still
listeners
got
out there,
Sarah J. Maas on there that I haven't even touched.
Do not listen to the Michaela Lane stories on Audible, because in my head she has no accent. I like got the sample because I'm like, I'm going to give it a sample, and she is so Southern. I'm like, no, she's not Southern in my head.
Okay.
And it's terrible. The author's terrible. So, but if you ever want to read them, read them.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. I still need to finish. My godfather gave me at the beginning of the year Unseen Academicals by Terry Pratchett, and it's still sitting halfway read. I have not finished it. I've had it since he gave it to me in December at Christmas, and we're up to nearly September here, and I've only read half of the book.
I started reading because I used to be such an avid reader, and I would go through books so quickly, but for some reason I just couldn't find anything good to read. So then I've just picked up the last book in this, and I went, I'm going to at least read one page a night, and now I'm reading different things every night now. So
what I have read of this book is what I started reading at night because I wasn't sleeping very well, and I thought, let's just try and read a bit. It might help me switch my mind off of thoughts. And I was doing well, but then when my studies kicked in, because I was reading in January and February, and then my studies got really intense, that I just was studying later, and I wasn't.
And if you're doing a lot of reading while studying, you're like, I didn't want to read.
So the book's just sat there. Maybe I might try and
do one page a night.
I might have to try again before I get really intense studies. Because I want to finish it, because the one book, like, I really love the Frankenstein story, and that is an upcoming episode for us, and I'm doing the book versus the original, like the black and white version, which I have on DVD so we can watch it.
Woo!
But it's a book I do want to listen to. Even though I got it on Audible, I really do want to actually read it, and I have a copy at home. So we'll see how I go.
Next episode is
my choice. So I have chosen Phantom of the Opera. Now, I do know there are a lot of versions of it. I'm not going with the original with Lon Chaney. I have actually chosen the 1989 with Robert Englund and the 2004 with Gerard Butler.
Oh, I haven't seen the 2004 one yet. So I didn't know that Gerard Butler's in it. So I'm a bit excited.
Yes, it is a longer film, the second one, but they're both equally interesting, and I'm keen to talk about them. Yeah,
like I said, as soon as I watched the 84 one, which I'm like,
89.
I'm so sorry.
I know. I actually watched the 2004 first, because that was the first one I had ever really watched. And I watched it when it came out. I watched it back in high school, and I really didn't know anything about the Phantom of the Opera. So that sort of opened my eyes to the story. But there are a lot of really good versions out there, and there are a lot of underrated versions, and I just wanted to introduce you to one of those.
Yeah, I can't.
I have it on Blu-ray, and if Robert Englund ever comes back out, so I've met him once before. That was the year that we had passed each other obviously so many times and didn't even realize
what was the probability of that.
Yeah, how crazy. So yeah, I met him at Adelaide Convention and I got him to sign my Freddy vs. Jason DVD because the guy who played Jason was there, so they both signed it. But if I ever met him again, I would get him to sign my Phantom of the Opera.
I'm a little bit excited about Comic-Con because
they haven't really released much.
Except
Sydney. I don't know. This is the person you sent me the other day and I'm just like, I don't know who that is.
Except...
And I didn't even hear it back about my volunteer.
Ricky Whittle is going to be there.
I don't know who that is.
Did you watch American Gods?
No, but I am contemplating getting the book on Audible.
Oh, no, it's really good. Shadow Moon. And he also played Lincoln in the 100 and he's such a babe. So I'm a bit excited about that.
But I love that Neil Gaiman reads his own books.
Yes.
And I saw it on there and I'm like, oh, it was a series that came out years ago and I really wanted to watch it then, but I never did.
I think you should definitely read it. I want to
Listen to it?
Listen, because I know you won't read it. I want to get through all of, so.
Yeah, like he has a whole collection on there and I'm like, I'm over my credit limit and I'm like, maybe I should start using them on his
There's
books.
actually, with Audible, there's American Gods. There's actually, so you've got 2 half books. So you've got the American Gods, then you've got Black Dog, and you've also got the Monarch of Glen. So, and then it spins off to other people. So they're only like 60 pages, the half books. Give them a go.
And I still have Good Omens on there as well, which was read by both David Tennant and Michael Sheen. Which, speaking of, we're going to see Michael Sheen this year. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. As soon as
we're not actually going to see him, but oh man, I'm so excited.
No, we are going to see him on stage.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and maybe we might have to go to Stage Door and.
I was hoping you would know where that was because I really.
I do. That sounds so creepy, but that's where I met Noel Fielding.
Oh my God, if I met Michael Sheen, I think I would die.
Same.
I wouldn't even know what to say.
I really like naps and I'm really proud of them.
Oh my God.
But yes, I do know where the Stage Door is, don't you worry.
December 27th. I've been planning this potential trip and I even delayed the trip by like 3 days just so we can go because he's literally flying out. They're starting the Amadeus the day that we would have gone all the way through the entirety of our trip. And I'm like, I'm just going to delay the trip.
Yeah, do it.
He's never going to come down here for anything. You won't come for a convention. So
like my heart is just a flutter
as soon as I saw it, I got pre-sale and yeah.
Yeah, you were like, let's go.
They're not like right at the front tickets, but because they were so expensive. Like
I do like the Opera House.
So like I went with the cheapest tickets you could get were I think $79 and I upgraded to $99 just to get a couple rows more full. No, so the 79 were on the sides.
Oh no, being on the side's a bit poo-poo.
I moved to the middle section, but we are at the back.
Okay.
For the $99.
Woo!
So you and me and my partner are going to go.
So if you want to follow us at Nerdazons on Instagram and Facebook, you can also send us an email at nerdazons@outlook.com with any suggestions such as Aussie Book Bub and
Macca Jr.
Perfect. And you can listen to us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your good podcasts. Until then, stay nerdy.